What's up, everybody? My name's Danny Ferrari.
My name's Parker Excellent.
And we are back with another Bad Boys of EDM Excellent Show podcast, baby.
I'm so ready, baby.
We got a lot to talk about, right? Today, we're going to be talking about the James Hype versus Deadmau5 beef. We're going to be talking about the Calvin Harris plagiarism.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, all about Serum 2, baby. So let's get into the video. All right, dude. So it's been a while, bro. We got to talk about Serum 2. We got to talk about our thoughts now. I think we've had some time to digest it. The people have had time to digest it and mess around with it.
Yeah.
I think we have some interesting takes that I think that we should talk about and share with the people. You know, obviously we already made a pack with Serum 2, which is awesome. If you guys haven't checked out our brand new BROSTEP pack, we went ahead and upgraded all of our presets to Serum 2, and we put in a bunch of bonuses for free if you already have it. And if you don't have it, go get it because it's got a ton of samples and presets. But dude, Serum 2, first, now that you've chewed on it, you've used it, what are your official thoughts on it? Like pros, cons, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah. So it's been about maybe 2.5 months that it's been out. I have a lot of mixed emotions with it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Overall, I'm very excited. Like, you can't deny the excitement around Serum 2. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You just can't.
Yeah.
It's the most exciting release in plugin history, maybe in the last 3 years.
And it's a free upgrade too.
It's a free upgrade.
Just dropped it on us.
So, it took us a little bit of time to actually put something out in Serum 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided to do an upgrade of the BROSTEP pack, which is an interesting move because a lot of people are talking shit about, this is made in Serum 2. This is not.
This is made in Serum 1 and they're selling a Serum 2.
This is not a remade pack from Serum 1 presets. And it's like, dude, we're looking at this a completely different way.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking at it like we're going to upgrade these presets.
Yes.
Because this is something new. And, to throw shade at a company for trying to do that, I think is kind of whack.
Well, they're not throwing that at us. You're talking about other companies. No one said that shit about us.
No, I don't think you're understanding.
Oh.
That people are throwing shade at companies that are remaking their Serum 1 presets in Serum 2 with Serum 2 upgrades. So, yes.
So they are actually doing what we did?
No.
Explain what you're talking about.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Let me start over. Companies are throwing shade at other companies for taking their Serum 1 presets and updating them in Serum 2. They're throwing shade at that. And that is exactly what we did. And I'm saying that it's bullshit. And we did that on purpose, Danny. Right. Okay? Now, we did this purposefully, so that we can actually give you guys an upgrade. Now, the timing was a little crazy with BROSTEP 1.
Yes.
So we decided to put it out. We didn't want to hold it back and redo all the presets. So we put that out, and we decided to upgrade the presets.
We did it the right way.
In Serum 2. We did this the right way. And we did it all purposefully, okay? We wanted to give you guys more presets. We also wanted to take the time to learn and see if it actually was possible to make something completely upgraded in Serum 1.
Yep.
Sorry, I was getting heated because
No, I was just trying to understand where you were going at.
Yeah. I'm just getting heated with all these fucking other companies.
People say stupid shit.
Talking shit. And it's like, dude, this is all the Wild West right now.
Yeah.
Companies are trying all of these different things.
We're all trying to figure it out.
Yeah, we're all trying to figure it out. And this was our decision to make. And we learned a lot.
Yes.
We also provided crazy presets in this upgrade.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so throughout creating this pack, man, which there's a lot of things that happened when we went into upgrading a preset.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We have 4 more macros that we have the ability to add to these presets.
Mm-hmm.
We have another oscillator. We have all these new effects.
Yeah.
So we really had to dissect what was going on in the initial preset and have a fun, new, exciting way of turning it into Serum 2.
Right.
So that whole process was difficult, first off. but it was also like fun.
No, it helped us really learn the actual software, you know. And for those of you guys who don't know, like what he's referring to is like when you get the pack, you'll get the initial first 150 Serum 1 presets. So you have those original ones. Then you have those same presets again, but now Serum 2ified, meaning they don't sound necessarily the same as those original presets. They now have altered versions versus like extra oscillators. We didn't just say, hey, this is Serum 2. We're actually like trying to do different processing.
Yes.
So they can sound different and sound better. They're even more like processed. So they'll sound similar, but still sound different. And then on top of that, we created 50 new bonus presets for you guys to be able to do that are just strictly created from Serum 2 from scratch. Like, so Serum 2, just right from there, we went in. But and it was a whole way for us to be able to experiment with Serum 2 and then give it to those people who had already bought in BROSTEP for free. So if you already bought it, the upgrade's there. You just got to go on and download it. It's totally free.
Yeah. So the process was very interesting.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. And I didn't see any other company choose to do it this way.
Right.
Which that could be a bad sign, but I always look at that as we are being unique. We're doing something different than everybody else.
Right.
And we're doing, you know, people are still trying to sell Serum 1 presets, which I don't think anything's wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know, but
they work in Serum 2. So it's just kind of like, it's just a less options, which also brings up a whole other topic, which we want to talk about too.
Yeah. So overall, I'm very excited. This whole process of doing the updates was super, super interesting, you know, and I enjoyed it. You know, one of the big parts of doing that I found was like the sound changes completely.
It does,
you know, and something challenging was keeping the same tonality,
the integrity of the original.
Yeah, the integrity of the original.
Or having it be a macro completely, one macro change. That's the thing we were trying to do is have a macro completely change. Maybe it adds a whole new oscillator and then the sound changes and morphs. Because we really go in on our macros sometimes.
Yeah, we go in super hard. So like now that we did that, it's been 2.5 months. We got to play with it. We have sessions with it all the time. Like I'm feeling more confident with it, but also like I don't know how other producers are dealing with it because the biggest like add-on for Serum 2 was the routing. And like you and me, we've been in the game for a long time. We understand signal flow. We understand routing. So it like, I just opened it and like, I understood it. There's buses, there's like different effect sends now.
Right.
And you can send things a lot easier all over the place.
Split sides and mids all over. It's
and
crazy.
It was a little overwhelming at first, but then when I really just like stopped and like looked at it, okay, where do I want to send this? I'm going to send it here. Okay, let's go over there. One step at a time. It was so intuitive and so easy. You know what I'm saying? And it brings up the question of like, what are these other producers doing that only know how to produce and sound design, but signal flow is not a big part of their knowledge.
True. They don't
like,
know
what
how
do they
route.
do, you know? So I was just curious that like, you know, that question just popped up for me. You know?
I think what's interesting is like so like from the mindset of like a preset sample company, right? For us, it's also like when we were making presets for Serum 1, like the worst thing that we could do is like put out a preset of like just a chord saw, right? Like everybody some people don't know how to do that, but let's say you make a chord saw.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you going to add to that to make it feel like there's value to it?
Yeah.
Right? Because, so I could sit there and I can make a saw preset, right? And it's a chord saw. And I can spend as what Excellent Sound would do is be like, all right, look, we need these chords for this pack, right? We need it because you need chords, right? But how can we make these different? All right, so let me get into the macros. Like maybe the macro can change the saw into now being a pluck, right? Or maybe these saws, maybe I add an LFO to it. So constantly what you're doing is sometimes there are just simple sounds, right? And then what you do is you try to not lose the integrity of the simple sound, but get maybe 3 sounds out of that, right? Because it feels like you're like, in a way, like you're ripping off the person if you just like give them a saw, right? So what I think,
you want to add as much value as you possibly
can. That's the way we think about it, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to Serum 2 now, right? So now we have Serum 2 and we have so much more options.
Yeah.
As a sound design company, we always want to make sure we're giving the most value. And with
Yes.
Serum 2, now we have all these different options, right? We have unlimited capability to be able to add as many effects.
Yep.
We have extra oscillators, right? And then what I found happening is now feeling like I can't make a Serum 1 style preset in Serum 2, right? I have to use all this crazy shit, right? So I had to stop myself to be like, no. What's the most important thing is for the sound to be good.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, how do I utilize these tools to maybe help the processing and give more macros, right?
Yeah.
So we're in this weird sort of stage where we have this brand new toy that everybody has.
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing happen with a lot of other companies is people overdoing it.
Yes.
Including us.
Yes.
We had to be aware of that and dial it back, right? And you as sound designers, right? You have to realize we now have all of this power in our hands, right? So I feel like the big problem is going to be like knowing when to stop.
Yeah.
A lot of these sounds are going to sound over processed, right? They're not going to sound good. People are going to spend more time on this shit than they really need to.
Yeah.
And what I think for us, what we're trying to do is be like, okay, let's make a sound. I don't care what Serum 2 has to offer yet. Let's make a good sound, right? Then from there, once we make that good sound, how can we make it better using the tools of Serum 2, right?
Interesting.
If we start with making a sound from we have this giant playground, I think it's going to overwhelm and cause a lot of people to ruin the sounds until they really figure out how to dial it in, right? Because all these new effects like bode, right? Or like these dispersers, like all of those are getting used like 3 or 4 different times and they're splitting all these things. It's like sound design is not that complicated, right? Like we just need to make the sound good and we have these extra tools to maybe like tweak it to create something new.
Yeah.
And then what Serum 2 now does is enable us to be able to process more. Like that's how we should be looking at it. That, and along with using extra features like the clip mode to create really cool like drop sequences, which we're working on currently, which we're going to probably do a video going through some of the newer presets and explaining what we did, but we're still getting better at it. You know what I mean? Because this is still new. So I think like as a collective of producers, we all need to be like, almost like, we have to be very careful with these we have a responsibility as producers.
I disagree with that so much.
But like at the same time, like as producers, you and I have learned that our best production comes from when we put ourselves somewhat in a box.
Yes.
You and I have learned that, right? So I'm not saying don't like experiment and go crazy, but also like realize that like I can see people going way too far, including myself with Serum 2. Because there's just too many things. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't have put too many things in it, because it's awesome that it's all there. It's everything we wanted. But what happens is we go, well, now I wish it did this, because now I didn't ever thought about if I had this before.
That's an interesting take.
It just becomes this like
interesting take.
And then I could just see like sounds just not being good yet. It's going to take time for people to really figure out all like the secret little things. Like when we all figured out, remember when Serum first came out and people figured out the reverb filter?
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God, we're making all these crazy boombox cartel sounds. Like, oh, that's how they're made. It was like this like wild frontier of like information and tools that we were learning. Serum 2 hasn't had that yet. We're still like finding out. I mean, there are a couple things that are coming in, like that's when I'm going to start seeing sounds getting a lot better. Now we try really hard, to be at the forefront of that, but I do see a lot of sound designers and I see a lot of artists too, like using Serum 2 and maybe just like needing to dial it back to be able to keep it like, does that make sense? It's like, you don't need all of these extra things. We need them, but they're there as like as sparing. They're sparingly.
Let me fuck with your mind.
You don't want to put too much salt in. You know what I'm saying?
Let me blow your mind for a second.
That's my thought.
Look, Phase Plant, okay?
Sure.
Phase Plant has unlimited everything.
It does.
Do you hear the fucking sounds that comes out of that?
It's awesome.
They're awesome,
right?
But
sometimes they're a little much.
They're a little much,
right?
Dude.
Because people overdo it.
There's too much shit going on.
Yes,
and it's because they have the ability to do this unlimited shit. You know what I'm saying? And I have not really heard, kind of like what you were saying, like that hook in the Serum 2 world yet of, wow, this is something brand new that I've never heard before.
Right.
And it's fucking cool. You know what I'm saying? I've watched all of like the new Virtual Riot videos and like how he's sound designing with 2. And it's like he's doing it logically. He's doing it by like normal sound design rules.
Yes, exactly.
And he's like, I want to do this. Now I could do it.
Right.
And he does it. But there hasn't been like spectral mode, for example. Spectral mode is awesome.
Right.
It's very cool, but is it usable?
Not yet.
Is it
no one's figured it out yet.
Nobody's dropped a song with spectral in it.
Yeah.
Spectral processing and turned it into a sound where it was like, oh my gosh. There was one song
create something new and fresh.
Yeah. There was one song that I thought did that. But that song came out before Serum 2. So it doesn't count and it's not that. So I'm very curious to see like what are the steps that are going to make a spectral wavetable bass usable in a song.
Right.
You know, what is it going to be successful? You know what I'm saying? Like the ping pong Fuji opener bass. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's like an acceptable bass, you know, and it gets used all the time. But is there going to be a renaissance for spectral bass? You know,
we haven't, it's still too new. That's what's really exciting. But also like, I think what we're saying and what I'm saying is specifically is like, do what Virtual Riot is doing is like keep sound designing like you're sound designing in Serum 1 and then allow yourself to be like, oh, now I can do this extra thing that I've always wanted to do. So I think we're going to get better results sound designing that way. Now, if you're going to go crazy and experiment and go nuts, do it. But I think that like that's going to take a lot longer for us to find those new sort of like, oh, I didn't know you could do this with spectral. One cool thing, which we're going to do a cool thing that Kian found out, you know, the guy eating chips in the background, was he found out this really cool thing that we're like, oh my God, Serum 2 has this really great feature, which we'll do a video on. But come to find out, this feature was in Serum 1 as it is. It's like, what? Like, how come we didn't know this? Like, you know what I mean? And that's just because we're looking now. We're looking into these extra things. And I think, if anything, it's also going to enable us to go back into Serum 1 and realize that we can do a lot more than what we thought. So like, there is no like opening up Serum 1 anymore. It just doesn't exist. You're opening up Serum 2, right?
Which is crazy because Val opens up Serum 1 in his video sometimes.
Right, because you know, it's also habit too.
Yeah,
so like,
it is.
I think that like, I want to, in my mind, as like, I want to just keep the Serum 1. I think I'm going to have, me personally, maybe this is just me speaking for me. I think I'm going to have better results if I keep it as I'm designing a sound for Serum 1. And then I use these extra sounds that are there, these extra, you know, bode, or like maybe I use the disperser now, and like maybe I'm able to process the basses a little bit more, or maybe I'm able to do 2 types of FM.
I love the new utility shit, man. Oh, the utility is just...
Why doesn't it have a fucking volume on it though? Like, I mean, it does, but it's like, I wanted an actual volume knob. I don't know why it bothers me.
Yeah.
It's there, but it's not, you know?
It's so sick, man.
No, utility is sick. But also like, it's really easy to overdo something like that.
Yeah.
If you don't know what the fuck you're doing and you start splitting mids and sides and sound design, like, bro, like, you're better off just doing it in Ableton because you're going to fuck up an entire fucking preset.
Yeah.
And then, not only that, you're also going to have some sound design. Like, we have to be careful. Like, we have to be careful that we don't overdo it and we don't underdo it at the same time, right? Yeah. We're always trying to do that. We're trying to make sounds for beginners and for pros. It's a balance.
So look, the other thing too is like, I don't want to toot our own horn too much.
Do it because we're doing it.
I've downloaded other companies' Serum 2 packs.
Yeah.
And I have not been impressed by any of them in the Serum 2 world of it. There were some great sounds, don't get me wrong, but
like, it doesn't feel like it's Serum 2.
They weren't the Serum 2 effects. Like, it wasn't like, oh my God, this is so sick. Like, I hear it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so sick, but I could still make it in Serum 1. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Even though there's 3 oscillators,
sure,
that just the tonality of it, I was like, oh, I could probably get close in Serum 1, you know? But with ours, like, ours are fucking sick. So I don't want to
look at the ads, bro.
It's
look
a little
at the comments
biased
in our ads.
It's a little biased, but
people are loving it. It's sick, dude. We're
Let me
getting
tell
the
you.
best comments
So
on the
it's
song.
ours.
Yeah.
And then the other ones that I get really impressed with are the factory Serum 2
Yeah,
songs.
the factory is a lot better than
There's
the first
sequences in there. There's loops in there that I'm just like, oh my God, I am so impressed. And they have to show off all of the, you know.
But way better than the first factory.
Way better, dude.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I think it's the same people. Like, he brought in a lot of the same people to do the factory stuff, which is really cool.
And also, like, shout out Parker for this. And we got this, you know, from one other person, but we're the first ones to really catch on because this person actually makes actual presets for Serum, so they don't count. But Parker caught on to the fact that, like, hey, like, we can export an entire pack by just, like, having a one pack file that you can just throw in. It's so much easier now. And everyone's keep doing the same old Serum way. And the way that Parker was like, hey dude, we should do it this way. Like we're doing it completely different. Which I think is just going to be
so much
hopefully
more
other
organized,
sound designs.
dude.
Yeah, it's so much more organized. It makes so much more sense.
But yeah, that brings up a really good point, Danny, which is, you know, there is no industry standard way for preset packs right now. You know what I'm saying?
Like now we have demos for them.
Yeah, but there's so many things that there's no standard for, and now I'm getting the Danny high horse and saying we have the responsibility of making the industry standard for a Serum pack. You know, and we're gonna be dropping some stuff that is not an upgrade from Serum 1. It's just gonna be Serum 2 presets, and that will be the industry standard because that's what we hold ourselves to. First off, but you know. What is it? Does every sound have a MIDI clip? You know, is the description going to be filled out with like step-by-step directions on tagged? Every macro? Are the tags is it going to have a custom preview for every preset, dude? You know, like
do we do less presets because it's going to take more time to do all this extra bullshit? Like,
how much is $35 worth
for a Serum 2 preset? Because you can do so much more in them now. But
so,
also like. You're talking about just like the bare essentials though, like
I'm talking about
labeling shit.
I'm talking about industry standard for presets because there was an industry standard for Serum 1, and now
there should have been, but like in our mind there was.
I'm saying for us, you know, you play fucking one note and you flip the preset. You don't have to change the octave. It's the same octave.
So fucking annoying that people didn't do that. Such a simple thing.
But like, it's stuff like that that we're gonna get annoyed with. When we experience other people's presets, or you know, when we're just out in sessions working with people. So that is another part that's exciting.
Well, here's the other thing too, is also Serum's still really clunky, right? So like Serum 2 is. So like, for instance, for this new BROSTEP 2, we uploaded a special artwork for, you know, in the specs or whatever for Serum 2 in this new pack that we did. We did packs, right? And, you know, export it, you can put the picture, but it's like, you can't see that picture anywhere else. So we don't know where you see it, right? And then also when you're going through the browser and you're saving like the type, now you can save the type of preset so you can go through the filter, right? I went through and I saved every single one. I was like bass, 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 growl. And then you can also do tags on top of that and description like you were mentioning. Now it saved it all as like the artist, but when I went back through, all of the things that I had created were gone. And you can't save them. Like you have to like, either you have to resave the preset or it does it automatically when you change it in the, I think it's genre or something. There's like a little tab in the browser library. So stuff like that is still a little bit clunky. So like I can see us like I just was like, I'm not doing this again. Like it's fine. Like we'll get it on the next one type of thing, you know, because it's like it's so much extra work to do something like that. So we have to like set ourselves up to be able to like do it right the first time, but still the next pack we're going to be like, oh, we're going to do this different now. And then because Serum 2 is still so new, we're going to be like, oh, we should have done this too. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's going to evolve a little bit.
How long do you think it's going to take until...
I think we got another year until people start really finding out the new shit in Serum 2.
No, I was saying, how long do you think it's going to take until there's an actual industry standard for Serum presets? Do you think it's going to be another year? Because there's so many different things that you can include in a single preset, you know? Because I always think of how we do things, and like a drops only preset, is usually more of a special preset.
It is.
Than a regular pack preset.
Right.
Because you get all these crazy sequences, you get extra macros, you know.
Drops only is going to be crazy. This next Drops only is going to be nuts.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
But do you think it's going to take a full year of companies releasing packs until that there's a standard?
Put it this way. It's been this long with Serum 2, and I know other producers out there that put out their own packs that still can't do a fucking preset at the same octave. You have to switch octaves for each preset. So ultimately,
I know, but I'm saying just in the general sense.
I'd say
people are going to fucking miss the mark. Yes. Of course.
I think we're going to get
really shitty companies out there that don't give a fuck about the producer and the customer.
Yeah.
But I'm saying for just, they know that they're doing that wrong, Danny. You know what I'm saying?
They're just being lazy.
They're just being lazy, dude. But that's what I'm trying to say is like,
right.
Who says that that's wrong? The industry.
Yeah, the customer's like,
the customer says it's wrong.
Annoying.
So, like, how long is that going to take? You think it's going to be like a year before people start getting used to a certain way?
Yeah,
I can.
And then
agree
I
with
think
that.
pack sizes are going to change and price is going to change because of the amount of time. We already,
dude,
we already have been experiencing it of like people being like, well, like, if we work on a preset, like it's taking us longer. Like, so should we do less presets but also the presets are going to have maybe 3 different sounds in them. And also we're talking about clips, right? So like clips are like loops. Like we're making like we're going to show this, but like, and this is us just experimenting with it. But one of the BROSTEP presets, the new one, we did a little experiment and we did a clip and we made this awesome little drop rhythm that's like super cool. And it has like pitch bend in it, has all this crazy shit. Like, are we going to generate a standard for where all of our presets need to have at least one clip for somebody to be able to get an idea with? And then that's going to take extra time. So are we going to do less presets or charge more money or, maybe we don't do anything at all.
Let me blow
maybe we don't charge anything.
Let me ask you a real
question. Do everything the same. Yeah.
Does the customer give a fuck?
I don't know.
About the clip?
I don't know.
Do they even care?
I don't know. Do they even care about the genre tag?
Yeah. Do they
Some
care
stuff
about
they
the
for sure
tags?
care about because it's stuff that we would care about. I think that's the way ultimately, like, it should go without saying, like, shit should be labeled correctly. A bass should be a bass, right? So that they know what it is.
Of course.
And then it also should be at the same octave, and then volume should be another thing. Like you should put that, to have somewhat of a matching, even if the thing is clipping because it sounds good, like you should try to match it. That type of stuff.
Yeah.
I think the industry's got another year. I think we got about 2 more packs before we figure out exactly how we want to do it.
I would say 2 more packs too.
Until we're like, this is the way we're doing it. And then maybe like 6 months down the road, we might realize something else and be like, oh, we should have been doing this too. That's in my opinion. So I think you give us 2 more packs.
We got 2 more shots and then we got 1 more.
Like I already know this next pack, what we're doing differently.
For sure.
I'm already like, but you have to like set yourself up beforehand to do it that way. You know, this was an interesting thing because BROSTEP had already came out and we were like, oh, Serum 2 we had already had BROSTEP finished and then Serum 2 dropped. And we're like, all right, well, we got to do something. We got to do something with Serum 2.
Yeah.
And our best thought was like, let's do a Steve Duda. Let's just give it to free for those who bought it. Yeah. And then people that are coming on new, we made a brand new demo, which the ad is doing great. If you haven't seen it, we made a brand new demo. And then we made a couple new ads, which are really fun. We're going to go through those.
Yeah.
Using all the Serum 2 presets together now with everything mixed in. And it's really, really cool. And not to mention all the samples and shit too. But now that that's out there, people have a chance to be able to see what we can do with something like Serum 2. And we're just getting started, bro. Like, I'm so excited. If you're an EDM producer and you need some serious sounds, make sure you guys go to excellentsound.com. They have everything you need from Serum presets, project files, remakes, and even free downloads for you guys. And check out all these different testimonials that all these heavy-hitting EDM producers are saying about excellentsound.com.
And on top of that, use code TheExcellentShow at checkout to save 10% off your next purchase. While you were saying that, I wanted to bring something up, which is there's Calvin Harris beef. And
it's a little bit.
It's plagiarism.
Can you explain it? I saw a little bit of Calvin Harris being like, "You bastard," in fucking Scottish accent. Was sick as fuck.
Look, this is a very close to home subject for us because we do remakes and we use reference tracks. A lot of other people use reference tracks too, and the situation is a little wild. It's a little wild.
So explain it for me and the people at home. What happened?
So essentially what happened is Calvin Harris dropped a new song, okay? And DJ Nick Chicane, he was like, dude, Calvin ripped my song. He made a video of him sampling his own song and sampling it to Calvin Harris's song. And it's exactly the same.
What do you mean sampling it? Or do you mean like layering it over it?
He sampled his own song and arranged that sample to Calvin Harris's track. And it's like pretty exact. Okay. And he's claiming, he's like, I want what's owed to me, Calvin. You ripped me off. You know, I want my money. I want my money. That's essentially what he did.
And is DJ Chicane a bigger? I've never heard of.
He's an older DJ from like the 90s who has like some.
But he has a following.
Yeah, he's got a following.
Okay, so
he's like Darude, like days.
So he's not some random bedroom producer.
He's not as big as Darude, but no. Yes.
Okay.
And so he makes a TikTok. He does that. He shows everybody, and he's like, Calvin Harris, I'm coming. You need to pay up. And next day, bro, Calvin Harris makes a video. I don't know what this guy's talking about, bro. Let me show you. So he pulls up Logic. They're both in Logic, which is so
nobody
funny.
Knows what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. Both in Logic.
You can't make a point in Logic.
Yeah. Calvin Harris, he takes the guy's song. He takes his own song. He tries to do what he was doing. The other guy had it prepped. Nick Chicane had it prepped.
Right. Yeah. I saw the video of Calvin like messing with it, trying to get it to like figure out what he did, and I'm like,
yeah,
and I was like so confused. I'm like, what's the context?
Because so I think, you know, I don't want to give you my opinion yet, but
yeah. So Calvin matches it up the way that
Calvin's
this guy was
trying to.
He's trying to get it to match.
He doesn't even know how to match it up.
Right.
He's playing them on top of each other, and then he's
cutting it.
He finds the loop though.
Right.
He finds the loop. He's like, oh, maybe this is what he's talking about, and he loops that part, and it's not lining up perfectly like the other video.
It's not sampled.
So it's not. Well, we don't know. We don't know.
It looks like it's not sampled.
I'm telling you the facts, Danny.
Got it. Okay.
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I'm not telling you my opinion.
That's Calvin's argument, though.
Calvin's video, that's what it's saying.
Okay.
Calvin's video, he's looping it, but it's not sounding perfect.
Got it.
It's a little off. He's not bothering to quantize it. He's just trying to show it.
Right.
Okay. And then he brings up a song that sounds similar to Nick Chicane's song, dude. He said, hey, bud, why does your song sound like this old song from way back when? It's like, did you rip off this guy? And he brings up another old song, dude.
Really?
Yeah. And I didn't watch the Chicane rebuttal. I don't even know if there was a rebuttal to that one. But so Calvin's going Inception one step further. Hey, what were you referencing for this? You know, I've never even heard your song. Maybe is this what this is?
Did Calvin match up the Inception reference to Chicane's reference, and did it match exactly?
It matched closer than Chicane's to Calvin Harris's.
Okay, so in your opinion, does any of them sound like they're sampled at all?
So okay, I'm telling you my opinion now, bro. Okay, so from Chicane's video, it sounds like Calvin Harris sampled it.
Got it.
And like turned it more modern. It sounds like it. But
the actual audio.
Yeah, the actual audio. But it's actually no. The exact audio, no. It's a replay. It's a replay of.
Okay, so it's a remake.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like he remade it.
Sounds like it's a remake.
Yes.
From his point of view.
It wasn't like an actual sample.
Okay.
It sounded like he remade it. And
something similar, but not exact.
Yes,
but
something similar.
And isn't it like dun, 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 dun. It's something like that.
Yes.
Okay, go on.
It's very obvious too.
Yeah.
And very obvious in the Chicane video. And then Calvin, it's not obvious. He's just moving stuff around.
Trying to figure it out.
Which I don't know if he did that on purpose or if he really is just like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, maybe you're talking about this. But I'll say that the keys are all off in the Calvin Harris one. So I think Chicane was prepared and he moved a bunch of stuff to make his point.
Yeah. Okay.
You know? It's a little hard for me to believe that Calvin Harris would fucking rip off a known classic and just do it. Because at that point, dude, they have respect for that. David Guetta, comes out with remixes, official remakes all the time, reinterpretations. They know the fucking drill.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If this is a Bruno Mars, Marvin Gaye kind of situation,
right, it's
a little different.
Got it.
You know? So that's the situation. My opinion is that, you know, he could have heard the song, you know, and maybe he remade it, but him
referenced it.
Yeah. Maybe it was a reference, you know?
Maybe he didn't even do it. Maybe he's got his own, he's got other people starting shit for him.
Some of I'm a big Calvin Harris listener and fan, but some of his songs are so unique or like twisted in a way where it's like, dude, what were you
sampled?
Yeah. I mean, it's Nexus and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, why are you doing it? Like the Ellie Goulding song. I was not a big fan of that song.
Oh yeah.
I was not a big fan. That
came out?
The Drop, I was like, this is a drop?
Yeah.
But then I listened to it more. I was like, oh, he's trying something. He's doing something different. So like he has, from my point of view, he is a different kind of producer than like just ripping somebody off or like
he's not the type. You don't feel like he's the type of guy that needs to rip somebody off.
No, dude, he's playing guitar in his songs, dude. He's not quantizing shit.
He's a musician,
You know, if he was to sample something, he would just have it as a sample.
Yeah.
And let it be.
He doesn't seem like a sampler type of guy to me either. He seems like the type of guy that will create his own type of sample.
But if he did sample, he'd be that guy to be like, I'm the hipster guy. I'm leaving that in because that's authentic. I want the authentic sample in there. Right?
Yeah. Okay. So in your opinion, you don't think it's most likely it didn't happen, but you think it's possible.
I think it's possible. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little tiny bit. He's got EDM knowledge.
Right.
You know, he's older. You know, he has the history.
Yes.
He understands that. And where do all the biggest songs come from? It's from stealing old fucking songs.
Sure.
You know?
Yes.
That's one of the ways.
Yes.
You know?
So I have an opinion now that I understand the situation because I only saw the Calvin Harris video.
Yeah, what is your opinion?
So there's either two things that are possible happen, right? Okay. So Calvin Harris is a, you know, insanely like, you know, he's won awards, like he's an insanely talented producer. The guy's like meteoric level of talent, right?
Yeah.
The guy does not need to steal people's shit, in my opinion, right? Now, do good producers reference people? 100% all the time. Do we reference songs like in I like how I threw myself in there. I was like, do we as in good producers? I reference stuff all the time.
What do I do?
You don't like to reference very much.
Yeah.
Right. I like to reference a lot because I think it helps me get the idea going. And sometimes I can start from completely blank page, no reference. That's fine too. But I always like having a reference because it's a nice little roadmap just to start. And then you just go, you know what I mean? It could help with your learning too. It helps structure wise. Really important. So I think it's possible that Calvin Harris is so big that he has a team for sure, right? That could be possible. Calvin, tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe you do it all yourself, but it's possible he has a team and maybe his team like referenced it, right? And didn't realize, or maybe it was interpolation or whatever the fuck it's called, right? But at the end of the day, let's be honest, right? From what I heard from that video, we're talking about a dun 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 dun, right?
Yeah.
That is the most fucking overused house rhythm since the beginning of fucking time, right? Yeah. So in my mind, you cannot fucking copyright the bam, 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 because that fucking thing has been used a million times. Yellow diamonds in the sky, right? Fucking everything that's ever been done at Pop House is that goddamn fucking rhythm.
Yes.
The fucking pluck piano house rhythm.
Yeah.
Bump, 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 right? So in my mind, DJ Chicane, like, you can't be saying, oh, bro, I invented this fucking house rhythm. It doesn't sound whether or not it sounds like it or not, or maybe it's a similar sound. Like, in my mind, like, that's been done so many times, that specific rhythm, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about the entire melody, right? We're talking about one little part in a song, correct?
He's talking about the whole intro. Yeah. Which
does it follow the progression?
Bump, 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 bump. I don't think so.
He's talking about the rhythm of it then. Or even if he is talking about the progression, you cannot copyright a progression. You can only copyright a melody.
Yeah.
Right? So if he sampled it, then that's different. But even if he did remake it, the bam 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 bam, now we're fucking Sandstorm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in my mind, I doubt it.
Sandstorm is the same rhythm.
Exactly. See? I just figured that out. I didn't even fucking have to think of a million other songs.
Yeah.
Calvin Harris, come on the show. DJ Chicane, fucking sorry, dude. You're out.
Chicane's fired, dude.
Let's talk about Deadmau5 versus James Hype now.
Excellent Sound presents the best BROSTEP pack in the industry. Modern BROSTEP for the modern producer. 350 updated Serum presets. Hard-hitting drums. Nasty growls. Abusive basses. What are you doing, Step BROSTEP? Grab your parents' credit cards and cancel your Splice subscription. Buy BROSTEP Volume 1 today. Are you sold yet? You excellent sound, you think you're Skrillex, but you're not.
DJ Deadmau5 versus DJ James Hype.
Who's Deadmau5?
Right, exactly. Okay, so you saw this clip.
I love
James
Deadmau5.
James Hype started it.
I know.
He started a clip, right, where he's like, check this out, Deadmau5 is more than just pressing play, because Deadmau5 always make that. And obviously, Deadmau5 has been getting wasted at Coachella, having a great time DJing drunk.
Love it.
He doesn't give a shit about his cube anymore. Remember, he used to have like a PreSonus fucking thing up there. He had a whole entire... Deadmau5 is the epitome of a live sound guy that learned how to make music.
Yes.
Because if you don't know this in the industry, if you deal with live sound guys, they're all fucking assholes, front of house guys.
They are.
And they all don't necessarily have a lot of musical ability.
They all got the ponytail.
Deadmau5 is the live sound guy that actually has musical ability of learning to make music, right? So Deadmau5 is known, now Deadmau5 is partying a little bit. Maybe he's laying back. He's like, you know what, let me show up with the hard drive now. I think he still does the cube and stuff, whatever. Deadmau5 is a legend. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. I don't care, right? So Deadmau5 does that and has been making comments about how DJs just press play and it's a pre-recorded set, right? He's making a point, but listen to what he says, because you need to listen to what he says to understand what he says. But James Hype, I think, takes that personally, because James Hype is a real fucking DJ. Like, James Hype can fucking DJ his ass off.
Yeah, but do you know the history with James Hype?
And Deadmau5?
No, just in general. People say that he fakes his sets.
Oh.
And his whole thing is...
so I didn't know this part.
Yeah. His whole thing is, this is real DJing. And that's his saying. This is real DJing. And then he does his routine.
Right.
He does his routine. So keep going.
Okay, so he shows he does this little video, and he has lights and shit like that, and it shows these little Deadmau5 things, and he's obviously like throwing shade at Deadmau5. So Deadmau5 responds back and says, look, dude, it's not that hard, and programs his CDJ to, I think it just says like, it's not that hard on a screen, right? To show the video, right?
You're telling the story differently, but keep going.
This is the way I experienced it, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is Deadmau5 goes even more in and goes, look, I can do this too, right? And then starts programming his CDJ to be an actual video game controller.
Yeah.
Which to play Elden Ring.
Yeah.
So then now it's become this huge thing where he's like almost like inspired Deadmau5 to like really get into this whole like syncing a CDJ with video. So now Deadmau5 is made it a point to try to kill Melania, which is one of the hardest. You don't know a lot of Elden Ring, but Elden Ring is a very hard game. It's really difficult, right?
I bought it and I fucking quit.
Okay, so Melania is the hardest person to beat in the game. So the game is very difficult as it is. So now Deadmau5 is on the quest to build to beat Melania with a CDJ, which is fucking insane. So he's like controlling it, and then now he's actually.
It's what happens when you make enough music and you're just fucking big enough. You're just
so we have. I don't
CDJs.
think he's done it yet, but he's like fighting with it. But he's actually
done it yet.
Now he's bringing it into his set. So now he's programming it. Now he's making the mouse head move and shit like that. So it's like created this whole. From this like beef turned into this whole like insane sort of thing where now it's like inspired Deadmau5. So are they friends? That was my understanding of it. So you tell me yours.
Let me give you some lore.
Okay.
Let me give you some lore. So there's two different things that happen. So we have the This Is Real DJing from James Hype, and we have the old interview of Deadmau5 saying, if your visuals are sunk to your music, you
I'm
are
doing a pre-recorded set.
Right. Set. Everybody does a pre-recorded set.
Right.
It's normal. If your visuals are sunk up to the music, that's it. And then James Hype said, "Oh, that's not true, bud."
Wait, so when we're talking about when Deadmau5 is saying a pre-recorded set, he's meaning like they're pressing play and everything is fake. Not they're still DJing, but not that it's not.
It's a pre-planned.
It's a pre-planned set.
This song is playing at this time.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
He's not saying you're just pressing play and then pretending. He's saying it's a pre-planned set.
Correct.
But, okay. Go on.
Correct. And I totally lost my train of thought. So James Hype, this is real DJing. Deadmau5 saying if you have visuals,
the old clip, right? You're not got it.
That's where it started. And James Hype saw the interview and was like, "Yo, bud, that's not really true. I have my visuals sunk up to how I'm playing." And he did it. He did his routine live, and it was MIDI going through Ableton, doing some weird shit to the lights. And it was like, take that. And that's why Deadmau5 did the CDJ to the video game, was to try to one up each other.
Right.
From that.
So
after he got proved wrong by fucking James Hype, Deadmau5 can't fucking, he can't be wrong.
Right. So now Deadmau5 is on this journey to create this. It seems like he's making a set though now too. Like he hasn't
out of another CDJ.
Yeah, like he has like I saw.
That's cool.
The last video I saw is of him moving the mouse head too and like turning up the speed of the CDJ. So it's like kind of.
Oh, that's sick.
So I kind of feel like maybe they're becoming friends. But
I think they are.
Because it also like it's kind of funny because like you're right, like obviously James Hype doesn't, but that's what it was. Is James Hype is like, look, I'm actually doing it, and then Deadmau5 is like, well, it's not that hard anyway.
Yeah,
like, what
yeah. But shout out Joel, bro. He's fucking. He jumps into the beef.
He comments back to everybody.
He comments back to everybody. Yeah. If you talk shit about Deadmau5, he's gonna get your ass, dude.
Oh, dude.
He's gonna fucking get your ass. He's kind of like Ronnie, dude. Like Ronnie Radke. They're both fucking. They jump on it. You can't say shit to them, or they're gonna fucking respond. So you better prepare.
Not only that, when Deadmau5 writes a comment to you, you have to read it like 10 times to understand it, because he writes things so specific. Like, because he wrote a comment to us. And you and I, or to about something, and you and I were having a hard time understanding what he says. Remember, we had to like.
No, he just used a metaphor.
He used a metaphor, yes. So he's a really smart guy. So I saw in the comments, like he had written a comment, and I was like, I don't understand his comment. And somebody was like, what do you mean, bro? And Deadmau5 is like, read it back slowly, from the beginning to the end,
dude.
Then get back to me. And then I read it back slowly, front to end, and then I got it. But I'm saying like that's the way that guy's brain works. Like he's like too smart.
I think Joel's a 4chaner.
100%. Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. Anime, porn, hentai, all that shit.
Did they shut 4chan down? I don't know. But
also shout out James Hype, because he's for sure, he's probably one of the sickest DJs in the game.
For sure.
I'm curious.
Technically speaking, yes, he's the best.
There's
nobody better.
Do you remember back in the day Deadmau5's setup? I wonder, Deadmau5, are you still doing that with like the PreSonus? Remember he had like the iPad and shit, and he was controlling the cube, and he was doing all this.
Keep bringing PreSonus up.
He had a PreSonus live board up there, dude. I was like, what the fuck is that for?
Which one? The fucking...
The live mixer one. Oh, remember the one we used to sell at Guitar Center?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was up there.
Dude?
PreSonus mix or something?
It was the live mix or whatever.
Maybe he'll comment and tell us.
Yeah, but no, dude, I think technically speaking, he's one of the best DJs.
Dude.
I want to see what he does on vinyl now, dude.
Wait, you're talking about James Hype or Deadmau5? Yeah.
Dude.
B2B James Hype Deadmau5 set, maybe? I feel like that could happen.
See if Joel can do a routine.
Yeah.
I bet you he could.
Oh, no, 100% he can.
Just let him practice for a couple hours. Yeah. He could fucking do what James Hype is doing.
He'll do it just to like prove a point. Yeah. 100%, dude.
But it's also awesome. I like watching James Hype's routines because they're not perfect. You could tell that he's performing it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think he does it on purpose.
He's definitely playing it like an instrument.
Plays it a little slow or with a little bit of swing, and it sounds fucked up, but he's doing it for to be genuine.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that episode of the Bad Boys of EDM. Back with another one. We talked about a lot, dude. We talked about the Calvin Harris plagiarism. We talked about James Hype versus Deadmau5 and all the Serum 2 pros and cons, bro. Let us know what you guys think about all those topics down below, and we'll see you guys in the next one. We got more guests coming soon. Don't worry. We got a couple people planned. We've been taking a little break on guests, trying to get some scheduling, but we got some bangers coming in. So we'll see you guys soon in the next one. Peace.
Later, guys.